After 108 days of US-Iranian conflict, a Memorandum of Understanding has brought the conflict to a temporary halt. Trump has aggressively marketed the ceasefire as a landmark diplomatic victory, packaging the agreement as a personal political achievement. Yet beneath the fanfare and political spin, this hastily signed and weakly enforceable document is anything but a diplomatic triumph for the US. Instead, it serves as irrefutable evidence of the collapse of Washington's Middle East strategy. In this geopolitical contest, the US suffered a comprehensive strategic defeat. At the onset of the conflict, the US relied on its military and economic dominance to impose a full maritime blockade on Iran, enforce maximum pressure sanctions, and conduct frequent military intimidation, all in pursuit of greater control over the Middle East's geopolitical landscape and oil lifelines. Yet after 100 days of confrontation, every major strategic objective failed, forcing Washington to make sweeping concessions. Under the 14-point agreement, the US is required to lift the maritime blockade, end sanctions on Iran, unfreeze Iranian assets abroad, and collaborate with regional partners to provide $300 billion for Iran's reconstruction. The once high-handed hegemonic coercion has devolved into passive compromise, proving that the deterrent power of US hegemony in the Middle East has eroded drastically. Even more absurd than this strategic defeat is the consistent diplomatic hypocrisy and media manipulation that accompanied it. Faced with written commitments outlining major concessions, Trump publicly denied Washington's pledges of compromise at the G7 summit, deliberately covering up his country's crushing strategic loss and repackaging the reluctant ceasefire as a groundbreaking peace deal forged by American initiative. This narrative serves one purpose above all else: domestic political survival. Prolonged military confrontation has drained America's strategic petroleum reserves and fueled soaring domestic inflation. Confronted with mounting public dissatisfaction and electoral pressures, Washington urgently needed a political win, or at least the appearance of one. Fabricating achievements through carefully crafted narratives and selective truths has become a familiar feature of American hegemonic diplomacy. It was precisely this strategic failure that compelled the US to pursue an interim agreement as a face-saving exit strategy. US diplomacy has long been marked by inconsistency and unreliability, most notably demonstrated by its unilateral withdrawal from the JCPOA. Adding to these doubts, the MOU itself carries no legally binding force and lacks meaningful enforcement mechanisms. It is clear that Washington's concessions are merely passive compromises forced by circumstances, not genuine goodwill for peace. This document stands as a stark reflection of an overstretched, hollow US hegemony. US hegemony, sustained by coercive pressure, deceptive diplomacy, and self-serving calculations, has long lost global credibility. And its claim to leadership in the Middle East appears increasingly hollow and uncertain.